Hi, I'm Heather the Brilliance Coach, and I want to share with you 3 ways to turn epic failure into blissful brilliance. Now, imagine you're on Facebook, and you go and you notice lots of people have sent you mail. And you go in, right at the top of the list, you open it, and you notice somebody thanking you for attending an event you never even signed up for. And on top of that, they're like asking you for a survey or something, and they don't even introduce who they are. That could pretty much tick a lot of people off. And it did. It did tick off one lady named Claire. I coined her the social media relationship queen. And the person who sent the email was me. Perhaps it was not a brilliant move on my part, but then again, maybe it was. So we're going to premise that with 3 ways to turn epic failure into blissful brilliance. The first way to turn epic failure into blissful brilliance is to own it, to change it. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times people see failure as an adjective. They coin something as a failure. And that's kind of a statement. It doesn't have any type of shift or change to it. But if you own it and say, I screwed up. I did the best I could with the resources I had at that moment, and maybe those resources weren't the best, then you can learn from it and be able to grow. With Claire, what happened was that I saw her post. She was very upset about somebody who just became her friend, and already they were sending her spam. And I was like, yeah, right? And she replied with like, how do you mean right? Do you mean right as in you agree, or do you mean right as in something else? And I'm like, right, I agree. You weren't talking about me, were you? And she replied, this could get awkward. She did mean me. She absolutely meant me. What I'd accidentally done was I had a nice little 7 series video event that I was sharing. There was no selling, there was no upsells, there was no real call to action. It was just simply sharing 7 ways to be your more brilliant self in 2012. And I was so excited about the sharing, I sent it out to over 900 people. Now, when I sent out the thank you in the survey, I meant to only send it to the 52 people who'd actually come to the event. And I didn't understand Facebook enough to actually know how to do that. And I sent it to everyone that I invited. Well, she saw it as a way to make a statement that this is not how you build relationships. And you know what? She's absolutely right. So I want to share with you the second way to turn epic failure into blissful brilliance, and that's to ask for coaching. Now, I could have just apologized and said, I'm sorry, I'm kind of a dum-dum, I didn't do it very well. But I kind of did a little research on her and noticed that she's very, very good at creating online relationships. And I said, well, how could I have done this better? What can I do to make this right? And she gave me all sorts of tips. And I can tell you, just from that conversation alone, our relationship has grown deeper. She refriended me, by the way. And I am able to learn a little bit more about the fine-tuning of how to build relationships on social media. Now, the third way to turn epic failure into blissful brilliance is to dare to put the suck in success. Now, just because you consider something a fail, either as an adjective or you owned it as a verb, doesn't mean to stop testing, doing all your testing and getting the results. I mean, Thomas Edison tested out his light bulb so many times, he said, I didn't fail, I simply found 1,000 ways that it didn't work. Well, if you don't test and get results all the time, you're not going to fail enough to know what works. So dare to put the suck in success. I mean, SUC comes before SUCCEED, or however you spell that word. You gotta suck before you succeed. And that's 3 ways to put the brilliance back into a failure. It's not a failure if you learned something. This is Heather McGlasson, the Brilliance Coach. Thank you for listening.